let's start. We have almost everyone. So thank you for everyone for joining our event today. And today we will discuss about how can international students build successful career in China. So today's agenda for today is that we will discuss about the success stories of our panelists here. And I will give a brief introduction about China admissions and how to apply to Chinese universities. And we will have a Q&A sessions. So the students who have questions, they can leave questions there on the chat. So in the end, on the Q&A session, we will answer the questions. So we have 7 panelists here who have their stories to share. So they're all from different backgrounds. They study different subjects, but they all succeeded in China in their own way. So our first panelist is Medellin. She's from Indonesia, and she's a graduate of UIB and current marketing team lead at Startup Grind Beijing. So our second panelist is Ekaterina. She is from Russia, and she's a PLC graduate and currently head of SMM of Huawei Russia. And our third panelist is Kasim from Pakistan. He's a graduate of UIB and current analyst at Equal Ocean, Beijing. And our fourth panelist is Siobhan Shoofs. He's from India, and he's a graduate of SIP's MBA program. And currently he is the assistant project manager at SIPS. And our fifth panelist is Ostap from Ukraine. And he is a BFSU graduate and current business manager at Chang'an Technology. And our sixth panelist is Russell from UK, and he's a graduate of That's Mandarin and current franchise account manager at the Body Shop Singapore. And our final 7th panelist is Eric from Zimbabwe, and he's a current student at Zhejiang University of Science and Technology and also the president of International Student Union. So today we will hear about their stories. How did they find success? And what difficulties and challenges did they overcome? And what tips and advices do they have to share with other students? So let's start with our first panelist, Maddie. So can you please introduce yourself and tell us your story?
Okay, all right. Can you hear me fine? It says my internet is fine. Sure. So I'm Medellin. I'm born and raised in Indonesia. I've lived in Beijing since 2013. Currently helping out at marketing in Startup Grind Beijing, and I'm also doing marketing and business development for Influence Matters. I actually studied in UIB when I was doing my bachelor's degree, and also now my master's degree, and I'm graduating this summer, June 2020. I gained a lot from studying in China overall. I mean, like, I would have never expected to be exposed to many cultures and languages. And also, I was very active as a student. I participated in student unions, and each year, I remember in my student union, we'll visit orphanage, and I will organize that, and I'll learn how to do marketing for that. And other than that, Startup Grinds, currently with Startup Grind Beijing, I'm currently working on my entrepreneur spotlight, where I interview founders every month, startup founders. Apart from that, I'm also currently helping to organize the China conference. And also I'm growing the social media, namely Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and WeChat official account. Other than that, in terms of my marketing strategy, I think marketing in China is very different. It's not like, you know, you can use Instagram, Facebook, and all of this without VPN, because you need VPN to use that. And also, like, I think in China, the sense of community is very strong. So if you are a startup, or if you're working for a startup, growing and marketing for that company, it's very important for you to create a community, or to find your community to market your products, in my opinion. And overall, what I'd say about the international community in China, I think it's been great. I get to meet a lot of different people from across the globe. I get to learn new things, new culture. I wouldn't have known that, for example, I know pilmeni is like the Russian dumpling, and I knew it through my Russian friends, or other things like that. But it's been great. I love that so far. I love my experience so far.
Okay, great to hear that. So thank you so much for answering our questions and sharing your experience and story. So let's move our second panelist, Ekaterina.
Hi.
Hello, can you please introduce yourself and your story in China and about the Huawei and where you're working and all your experiences?
Yeah, sure. So actually, in the first place, I didn't have thoughts to come to China. It actually happens accidentally. I was supposed to go to England, but I get refused visa, to student's visa, and that's why I decided, okay, so I like Chinese language, so why shall not I just go to China? So I came there for 6 months, and it really was one of the best 6 months of my life, because when you put yourself in the completely different atmosphere where a lot of people from different countries studying with you together, and not only you learn about the language and the culture of the one country, but also you have an opportunity to learn another country's culture. And after 6 months studying in China, I realized that I would like to stay there more. So after I come back to Moscow and graduated from Moscow University, I came back to BLCU again, but for 1 year. And this year also was like the best year of my life, because again, a lot of people, a new experience every day. You don't know what is going on, like what will happen with you. You have so many opportunities, like it's crazy. So speaking about my experience studying in BLCU, it was very, very cherished. It was very bright. Learn a lot. Like we had business Chinese. We had some cultures Chinese. We had like really cool communication inside our group, and currently I have a lot of friends from different countries, and just amazing. So currently I'm working in a Huawei company. After I come back from China, I used to work in one small Chinese company. It was mostly for like language, for like my own development. But then I joined Huawei, and I already worked there for 6 years. And it's just so different from any other companies. I mean, honestly speaking, I don't understand how people can work in Chinese company when they don't have this experience, like to live in this country, to know this culture, to understand the mentality of the people. I think it's just hard. And because everything is so different, like, you know, everything is so different. It's not so typical. So you have to understand the logic. And sometimes you just think like, okay, how does it work? And it works eventually. So the difference between Chinese multinational corporation and small corporation, I would say that it's maybe connections between the people. When you work with multinational corporation, you have much bigger pressure on yourself, on your project. When you work in Chinese company, you'd better to confirm some projects, not just with 1 or 2 people, but it's like teamwork. And so the more people involved, the more people you have to be in touch with. And speaking about the challenges I have to overcome in success corporations, well, first of all, it's pressure. You need to understand that you have to work a lot, but all of your work is visible. I mean, what I really like about Chinese culture, they always support you. So you can have like a lot of very difficult projects, but at the same time, nobody will punish you, or nobody will, like, you know, beat you or something. They will try to provide you maximum support. And to sum it up, like what advice I have for other people to come to China. First of all, you don't need to be afraid of China, and you don't need to be afraid of that everything is so different from your own. I remember when I came to China, like my first day, I was so scared. Like I didn't understand the culture, I didn't understand the language, and I was living with a Korean girl who doesn't speak English, and by that time I couldn't speak Chinese. So I lived with this girl like for 1 month, and we didn't communicate with her at all because it just wasn't impossible. But at the same time, all of this experience, it's often something new in yourself. Like you maybe don't know yourself very good before you had this opportunity. So that's why you just like, if you think about Chinese education, just do it. Just really, don't think too much. Just go to it. That's it.
Thank you so much. It was really inspiring to hear your story and how you overcome this multicultural experience and challenges and how you have succeeded. So then let's move to our third panelist, Kasim. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us your story?
Sure, introduce myself. I haven't done that in a long time. Okay, let me just start. So I'm Kasim, and I belong to the beautiful country of Pakistan. I've been in China for almost 6 years now. I graduated from the University of International Business and Economics, just like one of our panelists. And I majored. I did my bachelor's in administrative management. And yeah, since then I've been here. So the thing is that my plan was not to come to China to stay. I came here just because in my country it's different. When you want to go study abroad, it's either the US or it's England, right? So when I first told my family that I want to go to China to study, they were like, they were kind of confused, But then I came here with the intention to actually learn Chinese. I got admitted in UIBE. I took the honey bun classes, the Chinese language classes. I took them for like 1 semester, and then the next semester I took another Chinese language class, which was Yukaban. I did that, and then I gave an exam to actually enter the university. So they check your Chinese language, so they check your Chinese language, they take a test, and then they give you admission in the university. I passed that, although I didn't think I would pass that, but I did. So yeah, that is my story of China. And yeah, so the thing is that I graduated in 2018, and I went back after that. I went home because the thing is that here in China you don't get much time to you don't get time after your bachelor's to actually apply for a job. I went back, and as soon as I went back, I knew I had to come back. So I didn't actually try applying for jobs over here. So as soon as I went back, I started applying for jobs in Beijing. I came back to Beijing, and I got the opportunity to work with EqualOcean. So working in EqualOcean has been, it's a startup, and it's a Chinese startup. So everybody can imagine the amount of work, the amount of learning we have in a startup, like in such startups, right? So what we do is that we're a tech media company, and I work as an analyst. So in a startup, I worked as an analyst, I worked as an HR, I did admin stuff. So it was a lot of learning. I think during my time working for a startup in Beijing, I think I've learned a lot. I couldn't even imagine I could learn this much from working for a company. So yeah, of course there have been challenges. There have been a lot of challenges. The fast pace of Chinese, the industries in China, and then coming from having a background of a country like Pakistan, coming to China, the pace is fast. You need to stay up with everything. So it was kind of challenging for me in the beginning, but then again, with time, with the help of my mentors and my the founders and the managers, I got there. I got with the pace. And yeah, so basically the startups in China, all the startups are growing really fast, and currently I've been promoted, and I'm taking charge of a new project, which is a database project. I have a team of around 6 people. 2 of them are in our New York head office, work in my team, and yeah, that's pretty much about me, my story in China. I would not call it a success story as for now, because the benchmark that I have set is I'm way far from that. But yeah, everything is a start, right? So it's a small step, I would say. And so that is pretty much it. And what do I wish I knew? Okay, so the thing is that, I wish I don't know if I can say that or not, but I think what I would have done differently is that I would have taken another year of Chinese, because 1 year, it's not even 1 year. 1 year of Chinese is not enough to actually study and to actually do your bachelor's in Chinese. So I would say that, what would I have done differently would be take at least a year more of Chinese language and then actually go for it. And yeah, I would not want to change anything other than that. But the advice I want to give for people who want to come study in China is that, come to China with an open mind. Come, and I've seen many students come to the university, just stay with their own groups, with their own community, stay within their own community, with their own countrymates. We come to a country like China and we have the opportunity to meet so many people from so many different countries, right? Just like the other two panelists said, we get to know so many cultures, we get to know so many languages. I myself, I know how to speak Chinese, and now I also know Russian because I had so many friends. I actually took classes. I actually took Russian language classes. So I even speak and understand and write and read Russian. So yeah, these are these kind of opportunities other countries right now cannot give you other than China. So yeah, I think that is the advice, is that open up, open up and make more friends from all over the country, and that's all. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and experience and excitement of working in a startup company, and how you found the job even if you went back to Pakistan, and the importance of learning Chinese. So thank you so much for your story. So let's move to our fourth panelist, Siobhan Shoofs. Can you please introduce yourself and tell your story at SEEPS?
Hi everyone, I'm Siobhan Shoofs. I'm from India. First of all, really honored to share the dais with all the panelists. Everyone has impressive profile and everyone is doing very well in their life. So an absolute honor. So before I begin my story, I'd just like to second what Qasim had said, that China is not really the most popular destination that people would want to move to, right? And that has a lot to do with the perception created by the media, mostly Western media. So there's a huge gap between the perception and the actuality of for someone who has not been to China. And for me, this perception was shattered when I first visited in 2016. So at that time, I was working for a company in India called Mitsubishi, a Japanese company. I was not very satisfied with what I was doing, not satisfied with the company, the career path I was in, and I was looking for a change. And MBA, as you would know, is a very good tool to switch your career. And I was looking at top MBA schools in the world on Financial Times ranking, and I stumbled across the school which I eventually joined, SEEPS, China Europe International Business School. And what we have is a pre-MBA boot camp, which gives you a taste of what the MBA is going to be like. It's a week-long program. I joined that in 2016, and boy, oh boy, I fell in love with the country, the people, the culture, the way they're so expat friendly, that I eventually decided to apply for the full-time MBA program. Thankfully, I was accepted with a scholarship, with a fellowship, and I joined. So for those of you who do not know, SEEPS is actually a graduate business school. We have a few campuses. The MBA takes place in Shanghai. It's very highly ranked, so that attracts a lot of talent. So for the first week, it was a very humbling experience. I started my MBA thinking I would be the smartest one in the room, and I would be, the class topper and whatnot. And in the first week, my pride was shattered, and I realized that there's so many talented people around here, and there's so much to learn from each other. So that was a great experience that I learned, and also it was very international course. We're truly a global MBA program, so people from all around the world were there. Our faculty is super talented, one of the best in the world. So yeah, it was a great experience. And for someone who's not been to China before, or also someone who's not stepped out of the country before or worked out of the country before, it's very difficult to work in a multicultural setting. And when you step out and you do a study course, what it helps you to do is it gives you a risk-free environment to get to know the cultures, to hone your leadership skills, to hone your soft skills, so that you're able to work in a multicultural setting. And that's what I would suggest everyone, who's looking to move overseas, to look for a program that's that best suits them, and it'll give you a very good platform to try to understand the culture, and also a very good platform to launch yourselves. Why I say that is because if you're moving to another country, you need resources to find the right opportunities. And when you join a school, all the school's resources are at your disposal. First of all, you're going to upskill yourself. And second of all, the kind of network you're going to develop in terms of the school resources, and also the classmates that you will have. So it gives you a very good launching pad. So that's something I would suggest you to do if you're stepping outside your own country. For me, it was a great journey. I learned so much. And also, China is the place to be. I read it somewhere that a day of living in China beats reading 100 articles about technology. The kind of stuff that happens here in real time, the kind of innovation, the kind of new products, the kind of disruptions that are happening there are unprecedented. So yeah, this is the place you want to be. This is the right place at the right time, and I'm happy I made this choice. I'm happy I did not, go where everybody goes towards the West. Took an unconventional path. I love it here. It's so expat friendly. Just repeating myself. And yeah, if you're looking at China for your future opportunities, for a global adventure or anything, yeah, it's a great place, and you should really put some serious thought into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan Shoofs, for your experience as an MBA student, and what kind of opportunities did it give to you. And also, it's very true about the technology, that China is very advanced in technology and it's very expat friendly. I think all of our panelists will agree with that. Thank you. So our next panelist is Ostap. So can you please introduce yourself and tell us your story?
Yeah, hey everyone. I'll be keeping my closer. Well, thanks for all the sharing from all the previous panelists. So I came to China 6 years ago, and at that time I just graduated. I studied in Ukraine and in Netherlands, and I really wanted to go somewhere, to go to some country where I've never been before, with like a really different culture. And well, that was my main reason why I came here. I found one volunteering project, and I moved to Guangzhou, which is the city north of Hong Kong. It's a very interesting, actually, city and very interesting area. Basically, like most of this made in China, it actually comes from there, from the south. Yeah, so it was really cool to be there. And after volunteering, I studied Chinese as well and worked there. And then I, with the help of actually China Admission, I applied for Beijing Foreign Studies University and did masters in there. So after that, I started basically like a few months after I graduated, I started my job at the company where I work now. So basically what we do, we plan, create, and implement security systems for provinces, for cities. It can be for other big companies. And the company is actually really, really big. And for example, when you use subway in China, you have to do a security check. Or actually in any international airport, you also have to do this. So like the probability that it's done by our company is actually very high. Yeah, it's kind of also one of these big pluses, like living, working, studying in China, that you do with the companies whose work you can actually see everywhere around the world. About the differences in working in China, I think when you start working here, in any company here, work is kind of number one. That's how they say it. And I've met so many people who actually really mean it. So like they have little personal life, and all they do, they just work and work and work. And it's very unusual to me. And it's also really tough. So you should be ready for this kind of thing. That sometimes people demanding more from you when even like in your free time, like on the weekend and so on, which is not actually really something nice. Another thing that is really important here is your personal relations. For example, when I started working in the company, it's also one of the cool things actually in China. So at that time I was, I think, 25 or 26, don't remember, but I had a really good relations with my boss. And because of that, I was able to go to really like random countries for the projects, like Sierra Leone or Lebanon, Brazil, and so on. For like real projects that were happening in there. And actually at that time, I didn't really have a proper experience to do that. But nevertheless, I actually went there and I learned new things, and it was actually great. I mean, we met ministers, and I mean, just like the countries themselves were awesome and projects were great. And I think it can actually happen in China quite often that even if you're young, they kind of give you the responsibility that companies in other countries would never give you. So it's definitely a huge advantage. Yeah, and as for some advices, I definitely agree with the previous panelist, Divansu, that it's better to know more about China than to know less, just because China is the second biggest economy. It's not an easy country to be. There are lots of challenges here and all, but you definitely have like an opportunity for your personal growth. Chinese is important. Chinese dominates in China, especially like in Chinese companies. So even though you definitely can get around here just speaking English, like many foreigners do, but then you just live in your bubble. I think in any case, even if you speak very good Chinese, you end up living in somehow like a foreign bubble because the cultural gap is just so huge. But it's still very important to speak Chinese well when you work for a Chinese company, because it's just important. Nobody would care if you don't speak. And another thing is that there's so many technological innovations in China. Basically, everything changes here all the time, which is really cool because I've been living in Beijing for like 4 years, and the city really changes. Like people's attitude changes. For example, I remember the first time I came to Beijing, the subway was a mess. But now people actually wait in lines before they board the trains. It's still like not ideal, but this happens, and it's a real change. Like there's so many like things with like with the shared bikes and so on and so on. Yeah, so one of the things I would definitely suggest is to actually look more into this sphere of China. Like there's so many awesome and interesting startups with very interesting ideas. And in general, the society here is very strong. Like the entrepreneur's spirit is very strong in here. And it's one of the reasons why China is the second biggest economy. And this is definitely something worth learning about. Yeah, and I see many people were asking about scholarships. Well, I bet you guys can help with that, but I think now it actually can be a good time applying for Chinese scholarships, because I bet like because of coronavirus, Chinese government would be helping a lot. And here also one of this like specifics of China is that the government, the central government, actually really helps a lot financially. Like lots of things what they do are really not right, and many things that happen here are pretty sad actually. But on the other hand, lots of things what they do are actually great, and they definitely support the companies, Chinese companies, and if they set a goal, for example, like having more foreigners here, I'm sure they will achieve that, whatever goal they set. Yeah, so thanks for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you for your success story and your suggestion for students. Like, it's very true that China is full of startup companies that you can find opportunities. And it's also true that even though you are young in China, you have so many responsibilities. and you can work on different projects and a lot of opportunities in China. Thank you so much for your story, Ostap. So let's move to our next panelist. Russell, can you please tell us your story and introduce yourself?
Just unmute. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so my name's Russell. Thank you to all the other panelists for sharing your stories. Really interesting and inspiring. So a brief introduction of myself. I'm from the UK, and I studied Asian religions at university. So I studied Buddhism and Hinduism. And then I spent a bit of time living in Sri Lanka. So I had like a really big passion and a motivation to focus my career out in Asia. During that time when I was at university and living in Sri Lanka, I was lucky to learn Sri Lankan, and I also learned Sanskrit and Pali, which was a great experience, but ultimately not very helpful. So, you know, I was reflecting on which language I could learn to really develop my career and give me the chance to move out to Asia. And naturally and obviously I chose Chinese. So I actually started working in London for L'Oreal. And when I was working, I was taking evening classes initially at Xiaos, so at the School of Oriental and African Studies. I did that for about a year or so, and then I really wanted to accelerate my learning of Chinese. So one day I just went onto Google and put in there homestay families Shanghai and found a very small website that was helping connect people that wanted to, you know, arrange a homestay experience in Shanghai. So I got in touch with them, and they found me a family, and I went out and spent 2 weeks living with that family. And I remember my first day when I arrived at their front door and thinking, this is going to be crazy. I'm not going to speak English or hear English for the next 2 weeks. So I was very nervous, but I was also extremely lucky because the family were absolutely amazing. They were so friendly. They didn't speak any English at all. So I was really, you know, under pressure to use and learn my Chinese. But I had such a great experience with them on my first occasion that I couldn't wait to go back. And over the next 4 years, I went to visit them, I think 12, 14 different occasions. I went out to China and spent 2-3 weeks living with them and also taking classes at the school called That's Mandarin in Shanghai. And it was an incredible experience. And I think ultimately, you know, it links to what, you know, some of the things that you need to think about when learning Chinese or any language. And it's exposure. You know, you need as much time as possible living in that culture, hearing it every day, seeing it on every subway sign, hearing it in every conversation that you walk past. That's absolutely critical, I think. And if I hadn't spent that time living with the homestay family, I would never have got, you know, the level of Chinese that I was able to achieve. I think also critical in it was being a bit uncomfortable. So I put myself in what I found to be a very uncomfortable situation at the beginning by turning up at a family's house that I didn't know and was going to only be able to speak Chinese. And, you know, it was so rewarding to take a bit of a risk and be a bit uncomfortable at the beginning. And I got a huge amount in return from doing that. Today, I'm living and working in Singapore. So I still haven't achieved my final ambition of working in China, but I'm getting closer. And I do still use my Chinese on a day-to-day basis. So I speak it with my colleagues in the office. In Singapore, you know, there's many signs and things that are written in Chinese. I can talk to taxi drivers. I can order my food. So this is all a nice way just to keep my Chinese up and running. But I do get a chance to use it in a professional context. So I work a lot with some of our partners in Thailand. And sometimes I end up talking to our shop staff and they speak better Chinese than they speak English. Because obviously there's a lot of Chinese tourists that are going to Thailand. I find these unexpected moments and opportunities where my Chinese suddenly becomes very, very helpful. And when we were struggling to talk to a store staff about the sales, I realized I can switch into Chinese and actually we can find out the information that we want to find out. The body shop today, who I work for, isn't actually based in China. We don't open yet in China because of some regulations, but we're hoping that will change. And then hopefully I'll get a chance to come up to China and work in China sometime in the very near future.
Thank you so much, Russell, for your story. And like, it's very amazing. Like, how did you go out of your comfort zone to stay like in a homestay family in China to learn Chinese, and how you achieve your success that you have today? So it's amazing. Thank you so much for your story. So let's move to our last panelist, Eric. Can you please introduce yourself and introduce Zast? What is the student experience, and tell us your story? Eric?
Hello. Oh, sorry. I think I was having some network problem here. Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you, China Admission, for giving me this great honor. Like I feel like today I'm sharing the floor with great panelists here, and maybe I'm the youngest of them. Because I just discovered like most of them, they've already graduated, and but for me myself, I'm still they've graduated from the undergraduate programs. Perhaps some are studying like postgraduate, some are already working. But for myself, I'm currently in my junior year, that is third year, studying Bachelor of Science in Applied Physics at Zhejiang University of Science and Technology, that is in Hangzhou here. So I came to China, that was in 2017, and it's been like about 3 years already being in China. So before coming here, actually, what actually dragged me to come to China was like, I wanted to study abroad to explore, because I love exploration, and China became my choice because of its great advancement in technology and yeah, the fast growing economy and all these vast developments. So I should say, like, so far I had one of the best experiences here. And but one thing that I can't take away is that I also had to experience some challenges, difficulties, just like in other freshmen. When I first came to China, I had to endure things like culture shocks, language barriers, coping up with local cuisines, because like, you know, the food is totally different and all that. I actually had some of the speakers here. They also mentioned something that is along those lines. So yeah, it's something that I actually face as well. So talking about the opportunities, yeah, I should say there are plenty of opportunities here that are offered for foreigners, international students, or those who are actually already working. Yeah, there are quite a lot of them. So let me just summarize a bit, because like if I start explaining one by one, maybe it might need its own webinar or something. So one of the most basic opportunities is the opportunity to explore and study diverse cultures. Why am I saying that? Like, I believe everyone here knows that in the most recent years, like China has become the third most popular destination country for overseas students. Yeah, like a lot of people now prefer to come to China, and it's been like the third most popular destination. So in that case, like I got that chance to meet quite a lot of people from different countries, from different backgrounds, with different cultures and morals and values. So from that angle of view, that's how I started knowing much, like about different countries, perhaps even learning some languages that I didn't know before. Here at our school, like I even used to team up with some of my friends. Say I have some friends from Pakistan, Bangladesh, different countries. So sometimes they could even prepare some food, like their own local cuisines, and I actually enjoyed. One of the other opportunities that I got in China, I should say, an opportunity for personal development. There is one speaker who actually explain something about this point, like it will provide a ground for you to launch yourself. Yeah, that's very true. For me, besides studying my major, that is applied physics, I got that opportunity to diversify, that is to enter into some other sectors. How, you know, like they have a lot of interesting things that happen here. For example, we have some entrepreneurship competitions like Internet Plus. It's something that actually challenged me, like to come out of the comfort zone. And I was like, this thing is entrepreneurship, and what I'm studying is actually sciences. So linking up the two is something that would be very interesting, and that opportunity came through some of these things. So as I said, the opportunities they go on and maybe endless. So maybe I'll just leave it here and move on to the next one. I remember the other question is, can you give us a short intro? Sorry, there was the question
Yeah.
about my short introduction on why many students choose to study at ZUS, right?
Yeah, it's last year.
Okay. So the first point that I think the students are much attracted to study at ZUS is its convenience and location. Because as you know, Zhejiang University of Science and Technology is located here in Hangzhou, Hangzhou being the capital city of Zhejiang province. And it is a very friendly city. It's with booming economy. And recently it has been having those fast growing economy and a very huge development. And it is a host to some of those most popular entrepreneurship companies that you might know. We have those companies like Alibaba. Its headquarters are actually in Hangzhou. Maybe some of you might have heard this or know about it. But yeah, that's the location of ZUST. And also some scholarship opportunities. Just like other universities, ZUST does provide various and different sorts of scholarships. It's something that all prospective applicants could take into consideration. And also could have a look at its quality of education. I could say the quality of education provided here at ZUST is not that bad. It's good quality education. The various kind of programs at our exposure, like English taught undergraduate programs being like 14 and 11 English taught postgraduate programs. It might seem like it's not that many, but I think from all these ones, if you are someone who is trying to find a way out of your home country to look for some interesting majors, I think maybe ZUST is probably one of your choices, because some of the programs offered here, they are practical based. They have a practical based teaching approach, which is very essential. I mean, it's very important. Also, it's like ZUST is very, very friendly. The interaction between the international students and the school itself, it's something that you cannot take away. We're talking about even the kind of activities that are offered for international students here at ZUST. There are quite a lot. They're very exciting, and we have associations just like the one that I'm into. I'm the current International Student Union president, so we host quite a lot of activities. Unfortunately, currently we haven't been having much of them. We had to divert to online activities. So we have ISU, we have some associations like International Culture Communication Association. So if you take a look at all these associations, they host very interesting activities. And let me move on to the next question that was about the platform that I introduced. At the beginning, I think I mentioned something about the problems that I was facing when I came to China for the first time. Okay, so I managed to actually integrate into the Chinese society, like the local society. I managed to do away with all those difficulties, come across all the challenges, some of the challenges, not all, of course, that's not practical. So one of the ways that actually helped me to do that was I joined, there's a platform called My Homey. My Homey is a social media platform for international students. So when I joined this platform, now I got a lot of friends and I started learning much of Chinese. Like it brings people together like from different parts of the world. So because their main focus is to bridge the gap between international students and the local society. So now after I managed to personally integrate into the local society, I was like, I should do something personally for others because it's not only about myself. That's how I came up with the idea of introducing APL. Its full name is like Broad Path Leaders. So APL is basically a volunteering platform for international students. The idea was that through volunteering, the international students were going to successfully integrate into the local society, from them cooperating with the local people, having those conversations during the volunteering, and also creating a lot of meeting a lot of friends along the way is something that I was considering. So we actually started as like 8 members. We had 2 Chinese friends and 6 international students. That's how it started. It started here. And after the establishment, we started even covering a lot of universities because we created a widget account. So normally when we have activities, we post the link on that widget official account, and we tend to attract a lot of participants in the whole of Zhejiang, I should say, mainly in Hangzhou. So far, we organized, I can say, more than 20 activities since 2019, and we had more than 300 participants in some of our activities. So it's something that has been so successful and drawn much attention. Some of our activities have been aired on screens like Zhejiang television. I remember some of our volunteers, they even appeared on CCTV. It's something that has become so successful. And I think it is actually the best way for the international students to at least cope up with the local culture, do away with all those culture shocks. Because I remember also one of the panelists here mentioned something about the importance of you learning Chinese. Yeah, that is the very, very essential too. One should prioritize when coming to China, because
Yes.
because if you don't know Chinese, it's gonna be very difficult for you to work together with those locals. If you are someone who aspire even to work in China after graduating, you would better study Chinese. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you. You wouldn't want to say every time you are doing something, you have a translator with you. You are looking into your phone, you are translating something. At least if you can master even the basics, that would be very nice for you. So my last advice to all prospective applicants or all those who wish to come to China is I have something like a quote from Tubman. He said, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer, and always remember that you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." So it's a matter of you stepping out of the comfort zone. You have everything to decide your destination, and you just have to do it. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for Eric for sharing your experience as a student. And also it's impressive that you actually have built a platform for international students to solve the problem that you saw that needs to be solved. It's very impressive and it's very true about Chinese. Thank you so much for your story. And I would like to thank all of our panelists here for taking our invitation and coming here to share your stories. And it's very true that every one of our panelists here, they went out of your comfort zone to come to China. And each one of them, they found their own way to find the success. And China, as we all know, it's a place with full of opportunities. And it's very important to learn Chinese. But we all know that in the end of the day, if you come to China, go out of your comfort zone, you will find a lot of friends here. You will find a lot of different things. You will learn so many new things and technologies. So that will be like really useful for your future career. Thank you so much for our panelists. So yeah, anyone want to talk? Okay. So I think I want to like shortly introduce myself. So I'm an operations and admissions manager at China Admissions, and I'm based in China, Beijing, but I'm originally from Mongolia, and I'm an MBA graduate of UIB, and currently I'm a PhD researcher at UIB in the field of finance and economics. So yeah, so now we have a lot of students joined to our event. Maybe they're wondering how to start their journey to China, and how to apply to universities, and to succeed as our panelists here did so. So every student who is interested to study in China can use our China admissions platform to apply to your desired universities. So our platform is an award-winning platform for international students to apply to Chinese universities. And we partner with more than 100 top Chinese universities, and we have over 100,000 registered students. So we have won several awards. So in 2019, we won the award of Foreign Entrepreneurs 30 in China by the World Innovators Meet. And also in 2020, we were nominated by Holon IQ as China's top 100 edtech companies. And also we received Chaoyang Phoenix Grant for 2 years in a row in 2019 and 2020. And here you can see the picture of China admissions team. We are a very multicultural team. You know Rich, he's from UK, I'm from Mongolia. We have colleagues from the Philippines, Indonesia, and many more. And also all of our colleagues, we all studied in China before. So that's why we want to help students to your journey to study in China. So let me give you like short, simple process of how to apply to Chinese universities. So first you just choose your program. And after you choose the program, you can simply apply on our platform, complete the online application, upload the necessary documents, and pay the application fees and submit. So the process is very simple on our platform. So I would like to go by the process one by one. So students here, if you want to apply for the Chinese university, you can simply go to apply.china-admissions.com. So when you go to the page, you will see our search engine. So here you can find, write all the desired program that you want. For example, MBBS, MBA, or you want to learn engineering. So you can just type here and you will find all the relevant programs in China that you want to study. And here you can also do filtering. Like what, for example, if you want to study in the spring semester or September semester, and also you can filter by the degree, whether you are a bachelor's degree student or master's or PhD or non-degree Chinese language students, and you can filter in many different areas. So let's take an example of MBA program. Let's say you want to study MBA at SIPS. So as we know that our panelist, Siobhan Shoofs, he studied at MBA program. So let's take our example of MBA program at SIPS. So when you see here the MBA program, you can just simply click on apply. And after click on apply, you will see the web page of SIPS MBA program. So SIPS is a China-Europe International Business School. And as she wants to say, it's a world's top 5 by Financial Times, and it's actually top 1 MBA program in Asia. And it has a very beautiful campus in Shanghai. And also, I would say for international students, actually, it's very useful to study in a top university, even for alumni connections. As she wants to say, that he has like very outstanding classmates and alumni now. And SIPS also provides different types of scholarships and funding options for international students. So all of this information you can find on our platform here on the programs. You can find information about accommodation, fees, and admissions, and many more. And on the right side, you can see that the program of SIPS lasts 18 months, and it starts in October 2020. So the application fee of the program is 180 USD. So here, I think it's important to say that China Admission as a platform, we don't charge any service fee from our students. So the application fee charged here are the same as the application fee charged by the university SIPS itself. And the application deadline, you can see here, is May 13th. And tuition, here's the total tuition for 18 months program, which is 438,000 RMB. And teaching language is English, and location is in Shanghai. So as a student, after you check your desired program, you have read all the information regarding the admissions, regarding the accommodation, regarding the program, you can simply click on apply and go to the next stage. So when you click on our platform, apply, you will be directed to your account. So if you already have an account, you can just sign in with your email address and password. But if you don't have an account, you can just create the new one. So we need your email, first name and last name. And after you create an account, you will be asked to verify your email. And after the email verification, you will be directed to your application directly. So this is how the application page looks like. So here's first here on your information, they will ask your personal information. For example, your education, working experience, and like where have you been born, and many other things. And on the second step, we ask for family information. This is because we ask for your family contacts in case of emergency, or family contacts if someone is supporting you financially. And on the third step, you can just upload the documents that are asked by the university for your program. And the fourth step is you can just confirm your application. And fifth step is just pay. So you can see that applying to Chinese university with our platform is very simple. And it's very important to note that in our platform, you can choose as many programs as you want, as many MBA programs as you want, but you will have to fill out the online application form only once, and we will submit to all of your desired universities. So, and also we know that during this situation of COVID-19 around the world, all of us are staying at home, and it's a very big opportunity for us to learn and like have more knowledge. So China Admissions, we are also offering online programs and online classes. So you can go to our platform, china-admissions.com online programs classes, and you can see all the upcoming online classes that you can attend. So for example, today on April 30th, 8:30 p.m., we have COVID-19's impact on the Chinese economy and lessons for Europe. So after our event, you can just attend this webinar to know about the impact on Chinese economy. So we have many different online programs for students if you are interested, so please go and check. And also I would suggest you to visit our blog. So our blog has a lot of recent updates about Chinese education industry. So whether they're like new MBA programs, which MBA program is more suitable, which MBBS program, what are the deadlines of universities, and many different, any education related news, you can go to our blog and get the information. So I think like students, like I've just talked to you, if you know which program or university we want to apply, you can just directly go to our platform and apply. But there are a lot of students who are actually wondering like where to study. China is so big, and which university to study. Maybe you know like I want to study MBA or MBBS, but you don't know where exactly or which university exactly. So don't worry, we can definitely help you on that. So you can directly email at apply@china-admissions.com, or you can contact via WhatsApp, and you can tell us like what do you really need. Like we will find you all the suitable programs, and we will try to find you most suitable programs in your own need regarding your background and what you expect from your study. And please, you can also follow our social media platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and also WeChat accounts. So let's start our Q&A session. Oh, Q&A session. So here we can see the questions if we have. So the first question, I want to know as a scientist, how can you get a job after schooling in China? So actually, as a scientist, it depends which background of scientist are you, because scientist is very general. So it will mainly to get a job in China, it will require you to have at least 2 years of experience in the field, and you will need to apply to many companies in China. And if you find a company that will sponsor your visa, then you can get a job in China. No matter you're a scientist or MBA or like MBBS, you just need an offer from the university. So to increase your chances to get a job in China, I would suggest you to do an internship while you're studying, because experience in China itself is a very big experience to have to find a job in China. And here, I should have moved from, okay. So hi, Russell. What tips or tricks would you give to someone looking to be recruited to work in Singapore or Thailand, with the exception of a degree in Chinese? What other skills does one require? I think it's a question for Russell.
Okay. I think, as you probably know, that I'll talk about Singapore specifically, but it's a very multicultural environment. And I'd also say quite competitive as well, considering the number of large companies that are here. So I think, you know, if you can show that you have a very multicultural, open mindset, you've had a chance to work in another country, you have been learning another language, I think that's going to stand you in very good stead, because they, you know, people that are working here are typically working with countries all across Asia. So languages and a multicultural experience and background, I think, will be very helpful and important if you're applying for jobs here.
Thank you so much, Russell. I hope like we answered your question. So is it possible to work part-time during graduate study? If someone wants to answer the question.
Maybe I can try to answer.
Okay.
Okay, so actually, during the undergraduate studying, you can do internships. Like I don't know in other provinces, but here in Zhejiang we have what we call internship visa. So you can do internship, but the internship that you are doing, it has to be related to your major.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if others have something to add on. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, it's very true. So it's like basically students can work in China, but it's actually you will need an internship visa to work in China to get paid. That's, I think, the most important point. If you don't have internship visa, I would say it's illegal to work in China, but you can anytime find an internship a company that will sponsor your internship visa. That's good. Thank you so much.
Another thing is that, you know, the intention of your working, it shouldn't be money, it should be your experience, right? So of course, with an internship visa, you can do that.
Yes, very true. So it's like for students. Yeah, sir.
Oh yeah, and there's something that I forgot to add on. It's like it's very legal to be an entrepreneur in China. Like you can employ yourself, you can start up something. It's very legal to start up a business, and there are actually some incubators, some entrepreneurship incubators, so they can help you to do that.
Yes, it's very true. So even like as Kasim said, like internship, you need to do it for experience. And as Eric said, there are like a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs. And I heard there's a new visa called entrepreneurship visa. So I think it gives more opportunity for international students after graduation if you want to start up your own company. So let's maybe answer one more question. It's all about scholarships. Okay. Do you get paid while doing internships? Maddie, you want to answer it? You have done internships.
As I said, your intention should be experience, so you don't have to worry about the money, about the payment.
True.
Well, it
do
really
get
depends.
paid.
I mean, like if you're working for startups, usually the internship pays could be very low, but again, it depends on the company. Some companies doesn't even pay their interns, and some companies will pay their interns, but the interns have to pay tax. like taxes. So it really depends on the company that you apply to. But if you do not get your internship visas for university, you can still work unpaid to just learn and get experience, or just use that time as, you know, invest in yourself, and then once you graduate, you apply for work visa and work for that company that you were working underpaid for, let's say for 4 months or 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk about Equal Ocean. So we have interns and we pay the interns, and we expect the interns to join us after their internship period, right? So basically we train them and we pay them for that. And then, yeah, we expect them to join us because we've given them training and they've been here for 3 months, they know the company. So yeah, I think most, I don't know about most, but companies do pay for internships in China.
Yeah, I think it's a really great point. Actually, internship should be actually more of a training. So if you want to join the company, if you want to be an intern, it's a time, actually your time to learn about something. And if you do well, you will get the job offer from the company. That's, I think, is a very good point.
And it falls again with what you want to do in the future and your career choices. If you just want to make money, you can find freelance. I think it's Upwork where you can do freelance work. There's a lot of websites that offer freelance work for you, or you can also, you know, find a job from your home country that you can work remotely. But if your intention is to grow your career in China and you want to gain experience, for my opinion, paid or unpaid doesn't matter. But again, it depends on you.
Yeah, it's
in
very
any case, it's very flexible in here comparing to many other countries. If you want to study and work at the same time, you can definitely do this.
Yes, it's very true. Thank you. And actually, Maddie is like our specialist, right? She used to actually do internship and work for Jing jobs. She knows a lot about jobs. So
yeah, that was my previous experience. But it's been gone for like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. HR.
Very true.
For me, my advice is that, like, for those who wish to make money whilst studying, I'm still bringing back the point of entrepreneurship. Like, a lot of people, they have plenty ideas. You just put your idea forward, and if it's very nice, you can have it started and can start making money while studying. It's too easy and very legal. Yeah. And she actually explained, like, after graduation, you can also get an entrepreneurship visa. And that one is something like 5 years. So you have 5 years in China as an entrepreneur to do your business. So it's something that is very nice.
Yes, very true. So I think a lot of students, they asked about scholarship. I can just answer their questions, like gathering them. So actually, yes, you can apply for scholarships. And China Admissions is a platform. We also have scholarship service. So we can do all types of CST scholarship or university scholarships. So I would suggest you to contact us and apply at china-admissions.com, and we will give you all the scholarship related information and the scholarships available right now.